Hey folks, welcome to Shooting Up North. I'm your host, Lewis Carlin. We're here right here on the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. Thank you so much for joining me today. We already know by now, huge news coming out of Impact Wrestling. Minoru Suzuki, New Japan Pro Wrestling legend, Minoru Suzuki will be making his Impact Wrestling debut. It was announced on the show yesterday. It was announced on social media. And now we know that Minoru Suzuki will be a part of the upcoming Impact Wrestling tapings in Las Vegas, October 24th and 25th. So Minoru Suzuki will be a part of those tapings. Very, very excited to hear that. I'm a huge Minoru Suzuki fan. Again, New Japan Pro Wrestling legend. It's going to be great to see Minoru Suzuki in Impact Wrestling. I can't wait for that. I was so thrilled to hear that. I know Minoru Suzuki is touring the US right now. He's having matches against Jonathan Gresham. He's got one coming up against Nick Gage. I'm not sure if that match happened yet. He's been in AEW battling John Moxley. He's been touring the U.S. He's had numerous matches throughout the U.S. and for independent promotions, Game Changer Wrestling, as I mentioned, Nick Gage, and other promotions as well. And I was thinking, why isn't he coming to Impact Wrestling? When is Minoru Suzuki? When is Minoru Suzuki going to make his Impact Wrestling debut? Especially with the working relationship between New Japan Pro Wrestling and Impact Wrestling. And now we got it. It's going to be, he's coming to Impact Wrestling, the television tapings, the 24th, 25th of October in Sam's Town, Las Vegas. Can't wait for that. And I got to think who his opponents be? Who would be a good opponent for Minoru Suzuki? I could imagine he's definitely going to have at least one match. I'm wondering if he's going to have more than one. But when you think about it, Eric Young will be actually Sami Callihan. So with Sami Callihan, Eric Young will be great opponents. But Sami Callihan, unfortunately, injured. Eric Young, I don't believe he can come back yet. I know he was injured. He might still be out as well, so we could scratch those two. There's Joe Doring. Minoru Suzuki against Joe Doring would be fantastic. There's Larry D. We haven't seen Larry D in a while. I think Minoru Suzuki, Larry D could have a banger of a match. You got Madman Fulton. You have Moose. You have Rich Swann. You have Steve Macklin. You have a lot of potentially great opponents for Minoru Suzuki. But there's one opponent that I actually prayed today, and I actually let him know. I let him know that I prayed today, hoping that we get this match. And the one guy that I want to see battle Minoru Suzuki in Impact Wrestling, I think you could have I think you've guessed it by now. The walking weapon, Josh Alexander. Josh Alexander against Minoru Suzuki would be absolutely fantastic. And here's my fantasy booking scenario. We all know Josh Alexander is going to defeat Christian Cage for the Impact Wrestling World Title. We all know that. I don't have any inside information, but I think it's a safe bet, a very, very safe bet to say Josh Alexander brings the Impact Wrestling World Title back to Impact Wrestling by defeating Christian Cage. It's going to be a great match, but Josh Alexander defeat Christian Cage, and Josh Alexander gets on the mic and he says, I want to lay down a challenge to anybody in the world. Anybody in the world. I want to put this title up against the best. Anybody in the world I'm ready to face. And here comes Minoru Suzuki down the aisle, face to face, bound for face to face with Josh Alexander, the new Impact Wrestling World Champion. He points to the title. Minoru Suzuki points to the title. Josh Alexander holds it up, and Bound for Glory ends. That would be just a fantastic way to end Bound for Glory. And then we go into the tapings where they set up Josh Alexander against Minoru Suzuki for the Impact Wrestling World Championship. That is what I hope to see. That would be so fantastic. It's so incredible. Josh Alexander, Minoru Suzuki for the Impact Wrestling World Championship. My goodness. And I sent him a message about it today, and he laughed at it. But man, I would love to see that. That's my dream booking. That's my fantasy booking, and let it come true. Let it come true. I know I mentioned we can see Braun Strowman walking down the aisle, but now that Minoru Suzuki, and if he says I want to defend the title against anybody in the world, it would make more sense for Minoru Suzuki to come down. More Minoru Suzuki, of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling legend, walking down the aisle, and we get Josh Alexander, Minoru Suzuki for the Impact Wrestling World Championship. I know a turning point. It's going to be live in November, so I don't know if they can hold, if they're going to have the match. They can have the match for Turning Point main event, but it doesn't indicate if Minoru Suzuki is going to be part of anything else besides these tapings. They could. Well, it's live. Turning Point is live, so they can't really tape the match and then show it. Then it could be on these tapings. It could be on these tapings. Josh Alexander. It could be. That would bring ratings. I think. I think if they had Josh Alexander against Minoru Suzuki for the Impact Wrestling World Championship, I think that would bring I think that would bring ratings. I think that would bring in some viewers. I'm not saying they're going to get 1 million viewers, but I'm saying that I think it'll definitely raise the viewership if they have that main event. But it would have to be during these tapings, unless of course they could bring Minoru Suzuki back for Turning Point Live. That would be a great main event for Turning Point Live. Minoru Suzuki against Josh Alexander. But that's who I'm hoping for. I know I mentioned a lot of potentially great opponents for Minoru Suzuki, but I think right now Josh Alexander is without a doubt my choice for the opponent for Minoru Suzuki, especially after he wins the Impact Wrestling World Championship. Again, we all know he's going to win it. I think, like I said, we all know Josh Alexander is the next Impact Wrestling World Champion, and for him to defend the belt against Minoru Suzuki would be just fantastic, just fantastic. Okay, we're going to leave it at that for now. Anything else breaks, I'll probably be back later today. I know there's a lot of news going on, and I'll be back. I'm more pumped up thinking about Josh Alexander against Minoru Suzuki. I'm sorry. So we're going to end it now. So thank you very much for listening. Again, until I'm back later today or tomorrow, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for everyone that has hit that subscribe button. And until I'm back, thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye. Stay safe, everyone. So long. Bye-bye.